Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Brothers Take podcast. I am Chris. I am joined once again by my brothers, Adam
Hello.
and Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room to talk more gaming. We have finished up our Resident Evil 4 remake spoiler cast. We're moving on from that. But with the topic of remakes, which have become more and more popular, and remasters, we're deciding to have a fun topic that's not specific to any particular game. So don't worry, this is not an episode where you have to have played a game in order to actually listen to us. You could just listen. It's a general discussion, and we'd love to hear from you guys too. So what we're going to be doing with things like, the Dead Space remake earlier this year, Resident Evil 4 remake, and then also you've got the Metroid Prime remaster and the Final Fantasy Pixel remaster. Like, more and more remasters and remakes are going to be, like, they're going to continue. They're actually becoming hugely popular and getting great reviews. And all these game showcases coming up in the summer are probably going to have more to share with us. So we've decided today, as a more general topic, to have a bit of fun, to list our top 3 most wanted remakes and remasters each. So we'll probably do remasters first and then remakes after that. But we'd love to hear from you guys too. And you don't have to cap it at 3. We've decided to cap it at 3 just because otherwise this conversation could go on forever. And 3 is a nice little number, and there's 3 of us, and yeah. But you can tell us as many as you want, however many remasters or remakes you want. If you watch this YouTube, jump down to the comments to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this discussion, why not give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring that notification bell for all future content. To those of you who listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on which remakes and remasters you want, whether they're ones that are already in the rumor mill and you want to, get them into reality, or whether they're ones that nobody's talking about and you're like, seriously, fucking remake this game or remaster it. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. I don't think we need to, we spent a whole episode once before discussing what is a remake and what is a remaster, what is the difference. We don't need to touch on that again. If anyone's confused about what the difference is, okay. Scrap what I said. Let's remake that conversation and remaster that episode.
You're good.
I
still think Crisis Core is a remake, but whatever.
Fair. If anyone is confused about what the difference might be, because I do hear the word a lot interchangeably from some people about certain games. It's interesting. But yeah, if you have any confusion, we'll link that episode, and if you want to listen to that and kind of hear a debate and a discussion around it, then you're more than welcome. But let's jump right in. Let's start with remasters, because those are games that they already exist. It's not that you're looking for maybe much to be done with it, but more so that you want to update it and available, playable on modern systems. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to go around and do each person does like all 3, or will we go like one at a time and go around? Maybe we'll do one at a time, will we?
Sure.
It makes it less like a school assignment. Like, Eric, go all 3 now. Although in saying that, Eric.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try out the big one first, just to get it out of the way.
Okay.
Okay. We've mentioned this, I do believe, a few times.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's one we probably all... Yes. Absolutely. Skyrim.
It needs a remaster again.
And a
for
remake.
The VR 2.
Remastered, then remake the remaster.
We have got to stop this Skyrim train eventually, guys. Come on.
No, because that was my first one.
Was it actually?
No, not really.
No,
but it's funny that you brought that up. Anyway, no, my first one is going to be Metal Gear Solid 1.
You want it remastered?
Oh.
Remasters first. No, remasters
first. Fucking sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
For the next chat. No, it's cool.
So,
well, actually, well, fuck it then. Do you want to start with remakes since you've just done that?
Yeah. Okay, we're doing remakes. Metal Gear Solid 1.
No, actually, no, I don't like that. We're doing remasters. Fuck that. No, I don't know. We're doing remasters.
All right, fine. My first remaster is Metal Gear Solid 4. Either way, it's Metal Gear fucking Solid.
Yeah, baby. All right, you want Metal Gear Solid 4 remastered?
Yes.
Why, Eric? Tell us why.
Why? Well, because we only had 3 options for remakes and 3 options for remasters. So I was like, right.
Interesting.
Well,
Oh,
go
I wonder-
through it. I was like,
but why that one?
Well, that one I think is because it is the most up to date on gameplay that it would still be playable on modern consoles and stuff, but it's not fucking available anywhere anymore. So I'd like them to remaster to be able to port it onto modern day consoles, and then you can bring up the frame rates and bring up the resolution and the load times. You remember them? Sure, every time you had to go to a new act, there was that big long fucking loading.
Yeah, it was. There actually is a long loading time in it. I replayed it on the
smoking.
PS3 not long ago, and
yeah. So now you can go past that. You know what I mean? Like, so if they remastered, they're just re-upping everything, and I think it'd be very nice to replay that on modern consoles.
I have a funny feeling when we get to Adam, he's gonna kind of one up you on that one in what is maybe a cheat. But it could work. And if he hasn't, I have. So I think in keeping with what you've just said there, Adam, would I be right? For a remaster,
Legacy Collection.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Mass Effect Legacy Collection style.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2, 3, Peace Walker, and 4, all in one package.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now the thing is that
100%.
I
didn't know that was an option.
I know that is the approach to remasters. I think is to can I play it today? No. Okay, I want it remastered. It's like and that would be my definition of a remaster. Is that it's like what's the bare minimum to get it on today's hardware? And I think with the Metal Gear Solid, at least the HD collection, you might be able to get that on Xbox. Maybe I think that if that's on 360, I think it's
I get
compatible.
you now, right? Backwards compatible. Yeah, that in that sense you could.
Yeah, whereas it's just not possible really to it's not possible to get it on the PlayStation side of things. So that's a series that absolutely, but 4 in particular, absolutely needs to be brought over onto the. Now there's a bit of an issue there because it'll only be available, I think, with PlayStation. So I would actually like to see them tweak that and make that available on Xbox too, and it wouldn't require a bit of a tweak, I think, because there's a couple of nods in there.
Yeah, there's in-jokes, right?
Yeah,
that are specifically on the PlayStation 3.
So it'd be nice to, remember Soul Calibur when you had the various different console editions?
Would have a different character or some other... Yeah.
Do that with MGS4. That would be fun. But that game, absolutely. I think Eric's right. I think the gameplay probably would hold up.
Yeah?
Yes.
And I think it wouldn't feel as bad once I think blazing through those loading screens would just be such a joy.
Yeah.
And also just experiencing the whole thing at 60 frames 4K just would be gorgeous.
I'd be excited as well just to see the massive appeal for new audiences who can't get their hands on these games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like who can't play them, who are missing out on some of the greatest video games ever made.
When you get halfway, you just put that controller down and watch that 2-hour long explanation cutscene. Fucking amazing. Yeah.
But like, I could see nowadays, personally, with new audiences, I think MGS2 would blow people's minds.
That is that's one of those.
You know what I mean? I'm so excited to see. I would love to watch streams of that and reactions to the fish and mail shit and the when things go crazy. Like, but I'm thinking of like when we were looking at Doki Doki Literature Club, right? And at the time I was checking out loads of streamers' reactions to that shit, and it was blowing their fucking minds. Like, and I'm like, man, you need to play Metal Gear Solid. You need to see this shit.
This is new to us.
I'd love to see all that.
MGS2 is one of those games where it's like, not well. Like, I mean, it got good ratings, but then wasn't overly well received. But it's just kind of become this cult classic.
Yeah.
Because I think
And
story-wise, like what it touches on, the meta side of it is probably the best in the series.
Right. Well, you can make, I think, an argument for. So MGS4 is such an amazing culmination of the series, and actually we had spoiler talks on all the Metal Gear, the four.
That's the end game.
The Metal Gear Solid games,
You know?
and you can go check them out. That is the end game, right? It's a culmination game. But the other three, I think anyone could make a fair argument that either of them have the best story.
Yeah.
Because like they're really complex. Like even Snake Eater, which is kind of silly and campy at the top, but when you get deep into what really happens in that game,
Yeah.
what
And
the
the
boss
alternate
really
history
does
stuff
and
is
what it
really cool.
represents, and like it's super fucking deep. And then the first one as well is like twists every corner, like, you know. But yeah, okay. So one of my entries was Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection as one box set, Mass Effect style.
Which would include Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2.
It would. So it's
So
just
wouldn't have
it's
Metal Gear
bringing all
Solid
the-
1.
Yeah, that's the only one.
No,
yeah, that's
and
the only one
that would be, there's a strategic reason for that. There's a strategic reason for that, which might also be in all of ours. I don't know. We'll see when we get to the remakes. But yeah, okay. So there we go. That's that. I wonder how many other people would also be like, yes, of course, remaster Metal Gear Solid. Like, come on, bring it back.
Yeah.
Get it on the modern consoles. Put it on Game Pass. Put it on the PlayStation Plus tier system, but also put it on disc that you can buy it. Put it on PC. Don't put it on the Switch. Don't fucking
put it
bother.
on PC. It'll just
Oh,
break the
I
PC.
think.
Oh,
it would
the
be-
port
alive.
The port on PC would be fucked.
I think it'd be fun on the Switch. I think it would
I was
work
joking.
On the
I was
Switch.
joking. Well, Peace Walker.
Yeah, that should work.
Peace
Right?
Walker would. If that doesn't work on the Switch, I'll say no more.
That doesn't work on PC, I'll say no more.
No, I feel like remasters tend to do okay on PC.
Well, they should.
It seems to be these new releases that are, yeah. Okay. So that's our first one in the bag. I'm so curious. I don't know. This was one where I was like, I know the lads are going to say Metal Gear Solid. I know that.
Yeah.
But I don't know after that. Unless Eric's other two are Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 because he didn't think of coupling them all together.
No, I did not think of coupling them together. Thus, no, the other two are not 2 and 3.
Oh, interesting. So what is your other game, Eric, that you would want remastered for modern consoles?
Thrown out. All right. Okay, I'm trying to think about which one where I play. Fuck it. Just throwing out another big one. I'm going to get in there before he is.
Right.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Again, I would like to remake this, but because we only had 3, it got pushed onto the remaster, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because I'd say, again, this game could still be played. You just got to port it onto the new stuff. You could just up the resolution, up the graphics, the time frame. Everything would run so smoothly. It was so beautiful. Just,
okay.
What
just
the fuck
the
is
music. Just the music playing at like a higher quality. It'd be so good.
Oh, it was a Guitar Hero.
As you're controlling as you're controlling the army of Rohan going across Middle Earth. The Battle for Middle Earth.
You want Battle for Middle Earth remastered?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I couldn't put on the remake.
Awesome. What was this an instant? This is definitely in my list somewhere, or like did you do a lot of like rooting around, thinking, and
I know I did do thinking, and then I was thinking about different games, and I thought about, like, oh, maybe like Age of Mythology, and I was like, oh no, they're remaking that, but no one's fucking remake. Well, there is actually someone remaking it, but it's not
like a fan project.
I think there's a fan project happening, but I was just like, oh well, Battle for Middle Earth.
That would be a fucking banger on Game Pass, right?
Oh, well, how would it work though on PC?
I'm just putting it out there.
I don't like you said that.
You mean Game Pass for PC?
Would you want it? Would you want it to come to console?
No, I just want to play it on my. I'd want it to come to like all the computer products, like PC and Mac and Linux and all that shit.
You wouldn't want it to go to console? I'm Ron Burgundy.
It'd be awkward.
But there's
I think it'd be awkward. Yeah.
I hear you, right? And you'd have the option anyway of what way you want to play it. But the other RTS games, like Age of Empires and all, they're on console.
2 is. I don't. The
Right?
others aren't.
I thought more of them were, but anyway, there are and Civilization and games like that. Like there are RTS games available on console. People play them. Like, didn't you play Halo Wars and stuff on?
Yeah, but you see, Chris, that's
console?
look.
That's
Am I-
different.
am
You're
I-
going into
am
a
I-
wrong
that's different.
category here, right?
What am I
That
doing?
would require. I think that would require it maybe
Probably it
a
to be
remake in order for it to because you're retouching the controls then.
I see.
Right? We're really just.
that's okay,
we're just
though, isn't
talking,
it?
We're just talking about what's the bare minimum to get it up onto the latest things.
Just
Because it's true.
you just
Yeah.
want to play it, have it available on the system you have now.
Yes.
So you have to go root out your old machine,
But
to
even
boot it back up.
let's say you bought a new PC, it's not
Yeah.
going to run on it. So, that's the point. These
Yes.
games need to be able to run on your latest
on
machines.
new systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I'm with you now, Adam. Did
Yeah,
you
Valve
have?
for Middle Earth.
Did you?
Yeah,
No way.
because
I got it in
it's just
for
one
you.
of those games that's just like, and there's definitely a rights issue here too. That's why it's not happening.
Mm.
Like this would be like in a perfect world, if EA was given the opportunity to remaster it and make it available on Windows again. But yeah, you have to do a lot of. I mean, you can get it working, but it's a lot of arsing around. That's why there is the fan project happening.
Mm-hmm.
But just through the official channels, that's what we want. Just I want to be able to buy that box again.
Yeah. I hear you. I had thought of it because there was a few games I thought of, right?
Mm.
But it ultimately didn't make my list. Actually, next one I'm going to try out there is Batman Arkham Origins.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a game
That's
that
weird.
is fucking due a remaster. I think it's weird that the Arkham collection, even though I know it was WB Montreal, not Rocksteady,
Mhm.
but it was also considered canon in the series. They made that very clear in Arkham Knight. Firefly references the events of Origins, and there's other little things that came over from Knight that are in Origins, right? And I actually think that all the things that were wrong with the game could be fixed by a remaster. And I'm not talking then doing lots of big changes for remakes and stuff, but they could fix those little bugs with the glitches and things. The textures could easily look better. The gameplay was solid. The scenarios that they wrote were actually pretty good. And all that detective stuff, the slow-mo detective stuff that they brought in, was sick. So whenever I replay the Arkham games, it's the only one that I can't replay without going and booting up the PS3 again.
Yeah, that's just so weird.
It's a pain in
as
the
to
ass,
why they
right?
didn't do that, yeah.
Do you know when the perfect time to do it was too? Now I think it would go against them because people are kind of not too hot about Rocksteady.
Yeah.
And also Gotham Knights wasn't too hot either, which was WB Montreal. But in the lead up to Gotham Knights, had they released Arkham Origins as a remaster, because there was a bit of excitement towards that game. I actually think it would have done well at that time. Now, maybe not so much. But yeah, it's one of those games that I'm like, it's not as bad as people remember it to be, or at least think it is.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, with the BioShock remaster collection, it's like them leaving out 2.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people don't really consider, they don't bother playing 2, really. But you include it. It's part of the collection.
I mean, let people decide for themselves. Now, I suppose, could someone make the argument that the Mass Effect Legacy Collection didn't have Andromeda there, but it's like, no, because Andromeda is available on modern systems. Those Mass Effect games were not. Same with, like, why is MGS5 not in your MGS Remastered series? Because we don't want it there. No, that's not the reason. We don't. But it's available on modern systems as it is. You can play it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like,
systems.
Legacy Collection, leave off Peace Walker. I wouldn't really play Peace Walkers. I have no interest
I wouldn't
in
either.
it. But
yeah,
we're talking about, like, this stuff needs to be preserved. Like, bring it over onto the new machine so it can be played.
Yeah. Now, I already fucking know what Adam's third remaster is, I think, but I'm excited to hear what it is. But before we get to that one, Eric, what is your third?
Tell us my third one.
Okay,
you
I'll
could tell us Adam's
Actually,
third. What, is it,
if I can do this, if I can
Yeah.
predict what Adam's third one is, this would be I'm a wizard. This would be totally wizard. All right. So again, it's a game you probably would be able to easily play this. Again, you just bring up the. I mean, I would love for it to be remade, but yeah, right. So I think it'd be easily played. You just bring up the textures and the resolution and all that stuff. Get it just onto the modern consoles, and it is Mortal Kombat Deception.
Hey, that is not what I thought Adam was going to say at
okay.
all.
Pretty cool.
But
Pretty cool.
that is my third game I want remastered. You have no idea how many times I have Googled looking to find out has Xbox made that backwards compatible to buy the game to play it. I am dying to play Chess Combat. You have no idea how much I want to play Chess Combat. You have no idea how much I want to play Puzzle Combat. You have no idea how much I want to play Conquest Mode. I don't even, half the characters in Deception fucking suck ass. But that game was so good. The stances, the fucking stage fatalities, oh my god.
Well, just the 3D environment, the fact you get hit someone through a wall and they go into another
so cool.
stage area and there was like weapons you could pick up and yeah.
Ermac was fucking awesome.
Is this your favorite Mortal Kombat?
What?
Is it your favorite Mortal Kombat?
Not as a full game, but it has probably my favorite modes.
It's memorable. It sticks in the heart, you know.
I
like
think
kunai.
I think some of those characters we're going to see in Mortal Kombat 12. Like some of the characters of that 3D era, I think and I think 12 will have a conquest mode.
That'd be awesome.
I nearly could guarantee it. I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they've done the chapter thing. They've kind of done that to death now, so it's like we need something new and fresh.
Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of that newer way of telling. Tekken does it a little bit too, doesn't it? It's like it's just this new format of trying to do a story in a fighting game. It's like I don't think that's the right way of doing it.
I liked it at first, but I think the novelty has worn off.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest problem for me with it was just like you're fighting someone, and then it's like, hey, we're gonna now fight, and like it sets up the exact same arena. I was like, you see, if you've done this in a 3D mode, you could be in the same area, but now your position's slightly different.
The battlefield's different, right?
The battlefield, you're in the same room, move the same room, but yeah, now you're not having the fucking same old woman with the same line asleep, and it's like, didn't I throw that old woman like 2 seconds ago?
Yeah,
you know, so.
Yeah, no,
MK
Conquest
Deception.
is you have no idea.
Yeah, Conquest is good.
If you follow Ed Boon on Twitter, you start kind of piecing together what's possibly going to be an MK12, and I think I'd nearly bet there's going to be a Conquest mode.
That would be sweet.
And I think we're due Onaga back as the boss.
Yes, Onaga.
Personally, you know, they've done Shao Kahn, they've done Shujinko, they introduced a new villain in Chronica.
When did they Shujinko?
Sorry. Fucking Shinnok is who I meant to say. Sorry.
Yeah, Shao Kahn, Shinnok, and Chronica. That's now who they've done so far. So
yeah, so either they make another new villain, or I think Onaga comes back as the villain. But we'll see anyway. Yeah. So Adam, can I guess what your third one is?
Sure, go ahead.
Like I was like fully confident. I was like, I think he's gonna do Metal Gear Solid. I don't know what his other one will be, but I think it's going to be the Wind Waker.
No, I just want the Wind Waker just ported over. Like, you know,
but that as a remaster, no?
No, that's not really what I mean, because like it's already been remade. It's not just a remaster; it's been remade.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, but do you want that remake remastered so that it works on your Switch?
I just want they just.
Am I throwing a spanner in the works here?
They just need to get on that shit. Like I think it's gonna happen. It'll probably be for the next system. The fact that they've done it for like all the others, They're surely going to get around to that eventually.
I think it's shocking that they haven't. To
Yeah,
be
it's
honest with you.
fucking wild. It must be for
I
the
think-
next Switch, you know.
I think they're just not going to do it just because they know that you want it so much. They're like, haha, we'll pull Adam's pull Adam's tail. We're never doing it.
But
You'll
no,
buy the
that
next
wasn't-
console as a result. But that wasn't your. I
No.
thought for sure. I was like, Adam's definitely gonna have Wind Waker there.
I fucking want
Wow.
that game for sure, but I think it's probably going to happen. I think I was looking at more things that I would really love, but it's probably never going to happen.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay.
Dawn of War, which is another RTS
another
style
RTS.
game.
Yes.
I was thinking of
Okay.
that too, but I decided to go back from Middle Earth. But I was thinking of Dawn of War as well.
Well, you know, an RTS crossed my mind was Age of Mythology, but I didn't go there.
It's happening.
I think
Well, that's been
I think
remade.
that's happening, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
in some fashion, yeah.
Yeah.
But Dawn of War.
That'd be class.
Who were the armies you could pick in that again? I don't remember.
Well, I would want
It-
the entire collection. So,
Oh, was there like an Ultimate Edition, and that's the one you want remastered?
yeah. Well, there was expansions. So if you get the final
Yeah.
expansion, you could have. Well, there's the Space Marines, the Orcs, the Chaos, the Eldar, Dark Eldar, Sisters of Battle, Tau, Necrons, Imperial Guard,
Perfect.
and Sisters of Battle.
And
You're-
online multiplayer?
You said them.
Did I say Sisters of Battle?
Yeah.
Did
I
it have
don't think I
online multiplayer? You did, yeah.
Yeah. There's online. Yeah.
Yeah. And you wouldn't want
Did
that
I
on
say the Sisters of
console?
Battle?
I think you
You
said
might,
Sisters
you
of
might, you
Battle.
might have said it, but I think, yeah, you might have said Sisters of Battle.
Okay.
Would
I'd
it
also
go on
include
con-
Sisters of Battle.
Would it go on console? Would you want to see the Sisters of Battle on console?
Nah. I'd still just keep it on the computers.
Really?
Yeah. Look, I've tried like Age of Empires 2. Have you tried that on Game Pass yet?
I have not. To be honest with you, can I be real with you guys? I'm sorry. I have cancelled my Game Pass subscription. When there's something worth having a Game Pass subscription for, I will reimburse or get involved again. But right now, that money was getting wasted. So, no Game Pass at the moment.
So the game, like, I was really looking forward to it, and I tried it, and it does work, but it is a little clunky, and it's just the better experience is with a mouse, for sure.
Okay.
It's not enjoyable, I find, even though that was a game that I was like, oh, I can't wait for. So Age of Mythology, I'll be interested to see how that might work a little bit better on console though, because it's a little bit more character focused.
Yeah.
So that might be.
And
okay.
it depends on if that's a full. I didn't realize they were doing a remake of that. If they're doing a remake of Age of Mythology, it depends on. They might change the systems to work better on console as well.
Yeah, I mean they did do a pretty good job on Age of Empires 2. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you were able to get Age of Empires 2 on the PS2 back in the day, so it already had sort
That's
of
true.
console
Which-
controls built into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
our cousin Kieran had it on the PS2.
Wow.
There's
How
plenty of
about that?
RTS games have been played on console.
Yeah, I mean Command and Conquer was on PS1.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Command and Conquer 3 was on Xbox
Xbox,
360.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't
doable, but I don't think it's
Is XCOM an RTS?
Eh,
I know you're closer to the action, but
It's turn-based strategy. It's not
Yeah.
real-time
oh,
strategy.
sorry. Okay.
whoa.
Oh, it's TTS.
TTS.
To the
Cool.
There you go.
max.
That's interesting. Now, I'm so shocked. I was like, Wind Waker is 100% going to be there.
RTS real-time.
Like, it's 100%. Like over Warhammer. Yeah, come on. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, I just think back to the Warhammer games, and there are more coming out, and I just haven't. I haven't really. I just think like it's just why is there Warhammer games that are not RTS? That just doesn't make sense to me.
To me,
You know, like Space Marine, for example.
Yeah. Like, right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. The whole concept of the game is you control an army.
I know.
It's fucking weird to me that there's like still now there is Total War, Warhammer, but
That's
I've
fantasy.
never really been into the Total War games. They're just that little bit too heavy on the mechanics side of things. I think it's too much to think about. It's very difficult just to jump into a Total War game.
And just have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get you. Like Warhammer obviously is a battle strategy game.
Yeah.
That is, but I do think that if you're going to do it any other way, the Space Marines do lean themselves towards a Gears of War style gameplay system, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, like Space Marine is kind of close to that, isn't it? In
Well,
vibe.
Space Marine is like it'd be Gears of War and God of War slapped together.
Yeah,
Which I
right.
think when most people looked at both of those games and were
Yeah.
fans of Warhammer 40k, were like, well, one of them is the perfect way to do it. If you're not
If you're
doing,
going to do
Yep.
it single player, that makes
Yeah.
sense. But yes, obviously, if you want to capture the actual experience of playing the game
Hmm.
in the form of a video game, then yes, RTS makes
Yeah, I
a
just
huge amount of sense.
not that I don't want any other type of Warhammer game.
Mm.
It's just odd to me that they don't also have like Dawn of War is the best Warhammer game, I think. Like it just captures it, and it's odd that that's been kind of forgotten about. There are kind of pseudo RTS games on like mobile for Warhammer, but they're just they're not enjoyable.
Yeah. And that is the key to remasters, isn't it? It's the ones that are stranded somewhere
Mm.
that you want to be able to play and bring onto a new system. But then remakes is different, right?
Yeah.
And you can want remakes for very different reasons. Now, I would have mixed it up. However, Eric, I think you did reveal one of yours already.
Yeah.
So might as well just stick with starting with you and going around again. So for the remakes, you had said Metal Gear Solid 1.
One.
Yeah?
Uno. Yes. MGS Uno.
Why do you want it remade, Eric?
You kidding me?
No, seriously, why do you want it remade? What's wrong with it?
Well.
What's wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong with it. But
Yeah.
you see, we have a generation of people who might look at it and they might not look the look of that. You know what I mean? Like it's the OG gamers who do the demakes of Bloodborne and stuff because they're like, yeah, let's bring it back to PS1 days because that was nice, right? So
Yeah.
we'll play it and we'll like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But for the people who never got to experience this game, who've been robbed of its experience, we need to grace them with this holy relic of storytelling that revolutionized storytelling and voice acting
Across the board in video games.
Yeah, by fucking remaking it and go and play this. It is amazing.
Yeah. There is a fear in doing it as well, isn't there? There's that who plays Solid Snake, because it's not David Hayter, I don't think, at this point. Even, yeah, I don't think it is, actually. I think in a remake, you're recasting everyone,
Yeah.
just to give a remake its own identity. I'll jump in as well. Yeah, one of my, like, number one, Metal Gear Solid remake, yeah. Definitely top of my list in terms of remakes I would like to play. Not because, again, love the original, one of the best games ever made, incredible. And there is a mix of, yes, I want a generation who maybe haven't played it to play it. However, I was so for my 3 remakes, I was looking at the 3 types of remakes that I like, right? One of them is a game I'm very familiar with, but I want to see it reinterpreted and I want to see what they do different, right? So like Resident Evil 4 remake. A very faithful remake, but there is differences. And I like the differences. And as a fan of the original, I like seeing what they do different. That's the kind of remake I want for Metal Gear Solid 1. I want it to be largely faithful. Most of the scenes and the story are intact, but I want to see them take a couple of creative risks with it too. And I want to see the story told in a slightly different way. I don't think nowadays the way to do it is put the controller down and listen to Kenneth Baker talk for half an hour about nuclear waste. I think those stories have to be told in a different way now. But I still think you have to get that story across and the important themes of Metal Gear Solid 1. I think it'd be interesting to see them reinterpret Sniper Wolf, her scene, because I don't think you do it the same way now. But that was a really impactful, beautiful scene. So how do you do it nowadays? I'd love to see them reinterpret Psycho Mantis using new technology. You know, how do you fuck with the player in a way that's like, well, you can't do what you did before. And I would love this to be made by super hardcore fans of the original who know it so well, who put so many deep Easter eggs into it. Like, it's a huge passion project, but they are not afraid to tweak it and, you know, maybe reorganize the sequence of events. You know, like maybe the tank boss fight needs to be a little bit later because it's a tough fucking boss fight. It's your second boss fight, and you have this much of a health bar when you fucking fight it. I always found that the hardest boss in the game, only because of how small my health bar was, not because of anything else. Like, other enemies maybe had more movesets, but you always had more life to deal with them, you know, and you've picked up more rations along the way to keep your life up. The fucking tank! Ah! But anyway, yeah, MGS1 remake.
Yeah,
Adam, was this
reinterpret
your tree?
Metal Gear Solid? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Reinterpreting it would be a huge challenge, and it would need to be made. It actually needs to be made into a kind of a bigger game, I think. Because
3 parts.
Part of
Solid remake, Metal Solid Rebirth, and Metal Solid
Revengeance.
Because the Twin Snakes demonstrated what happens when you modernize the controls but keep the gameplay the same, the game design at least.
Yeah.
The original game is so reliant on that top-down camera that the moment you can now aim, it just breaks the game, really.
Right.
So that tank fight, yeah, that's like, what can you do when you can actually see it from a distance? Whereas
you got to change it.
The top down, you had to get as close as you can to fuck the grenades out of it. So they might need to really change up, well, how do we actually defeat it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the weapons available? The arena as well. You know, it'd have to be a much larger arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a curiosity to, well, how would they? Because I can't think of how they would do it. You know, like I think that would be really exciting. Like with Resident Evil 4, you could actually envision, like you could predict the game that just came out based on what
having played
2.
Yeah.
Whereas 2, well, maybe you could probably predict 2 based off of.
Well, do you know what? I honestly think, like, because I would be a little bit worried too, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. My initial reaction would be jump out of the chair. Wow! If they did exactly what Eric described before, if a showcase ends with, you know, black screen, bit of snow, and like just the start of the best is yet to come, and Metal Gear Solid comes on the screen, and then in the Metal Gear Solid font straight afterwards, the word remake. Or even actually just you know the way the Metal Gear Solid logo would come on at Game Over, but it comes on and it says remake instead. So you just know from the music and the font exactly what it is, and then maybe afterwards, just a little message that says "kept you waiting, huh?" You know, like we'd fuck, you know, we'd lose our minds. But I would have a moment of going, I need to see gameplay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people before say, oh, what they need to do is like remake Metal Gear Solid and put the Phantom Pain gameplay in that. Perfect. And I respect people's opinions. I strongly disagree.
Phantom Pain would work in 3 and 4.
Eater. Yeah.
3 and 4 it would work.
If they're remaking Snake Eater and they want to put that kind of gameplay into it,
I wouldn't even get that gameplay and put it in 3 and 4. I just think
no, but it would work though.
Yeah, it'd work, but
it wouldn't work in Shadow Moses.
It's quite
too small.
Close to 4. Only it's like the animations and the movements you can do are much more easier to pull off in 5. I think we're only referring to not the mission structure. We're referring to just the
mechanics,
the way you can aim.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I'm thinking of that too, and still.
Yeah, 4 is very clunky if you go back.
Now when you turn on auto aim mode, then you're like, blah, 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 and you just jumps between everyone like John Wick and this shit.
Well, that's different, right?
Yeah, but yeah, no, they wouldn't. Not that gameplay. That gameplay doesn't work.
If I'm being honest, I want pretty close to. I want the camera angle. The Capcom have been doing.
Yeah. The Resi 2, Resi 4, that type of gameplay works, the kind of the suspenseful,
especially in those corridors.
Yeah, because you want to, it should try and maybe ammo needs to be really scarce too. Like you have to do stealth.
Honestly, you could nearly make it survival horror.
Nearly.
But like, not that it's jump scares and scary like that, but actually, yeah, that you are like, I need to conserve my ammo. I should try and avoid these enemies now and just move on. And the only time you really get ammo is for boss fights. Where it's like, okay, now it's a big set piece. That would be a modernization of what the old game was anyway. You didn't go around shooting all the enemies in Shadow Moses. That wasn't how it worked.
No, you took a while to get your first weapon, and even at that, you didn't really want to use it because it took a while to get the silencer for it.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see it.
I would love to see it. It probably would be... well, it'd be interesting to see how does the Silent 2 remake go down, and that will be... that'll let us know, I think.
It's interesting, just before we move on to our other wanted remakes, there has been a long-running rumor that there's a Metal Gear Solid remake in the works anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's another separate rumor that a lot of people are running with as true, that Metal Gear Solid 3 is being remade.
I've seen that being...
Now, don't get me wrong. If they announced a remake of Snake Eater, again, it's a game I love. Of course I'd be excited. But I wouldn't be as excited. And I think it'd be kind of weird to start with that.
Yeah. Unless
they thought, oh, well, we're telling the story in chronological order. And we're not calling it Metal Gear Solid 3. Like, it's just called Snake Eater Remake or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's like, don't start there. Start with Shadow Moses, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the systems in place with 3, the last thing you want to do is that by the time you build up chronologically, that you're removing systems. You always want
Snake
to be
Eater is so much wider.
It's
bigger. It's a bigger game. Like, if you remade Snake Eater in a modern setting, you've got so many more options.
Well, 4 Peace Walker and 5 kind of suffered a little bit from that, because even in 4 it was like, yes, there's camo, but it doesn't really matter. It didn't matter like the way it did in Snake Eater. There's no there's no survival aspect of like eating your food and stuff like that. And
you're in these war settings where if you get caught, like,
you shoot your way out.
Action game.
It becomes an action game. Whereas in Snake Eater, you still had to hide if you got caught.
Yeah, so they kind of unfortunately dug themselves into a bit of a hole. Like they made the ultimate game, I think, with Snake Eater in terms of the amount of systems. Like, they pushed stealth to the extreme. There's nowhere else they could really go from there.
Yeah, I hear you.
Just make it more polished, right? Like the things we'd want to see is, well, I don't want to have to go into my backpack just to be able to take out shit, right? Like the stuff that we see in Resident Evil 4, hotkey your weapons so you don't have to go into your attaché case all the time. So that's the kind of stuff that they'd need to... There's the thing with Metal Gear Solid 1 being remade. Do you want to have the infinite pocket, or should there be a limit to the amount of weapons you can carry at once?
I think the hotkeys is a good modern alternative to it, as opposed to pausing the action in that way. But then maybe you can do that as well. Like, maybe you can cycle through, but you can hotkey your favorites. Right?
Yeah.
I just think in a boss battle, it's nice to be able to... I loved... It was the thing with Resident Evil 4 Remake. I loved not having to kind of stop the game to equip a new weapon back into the game. Being able to just cycle through your weapons as you're running out of ammo. Just kept it moving, kept it dynamic, I thought.
Yeah, so maybe there's like... as a mechanic, there's an ability to... Well, do you want to upgrade your health, or do you want to upgrade your storage?
Yeah. As opposed to upgrading your life bar.
Yeah.
Which you used to do in the original.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't upgrade your life bar as much. But you can get extra like body armor and things like that.
Yeah. So there's like a choice as to...
But yeah, like, again, in saying that, if tomorrow there's a showcase, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is being remade, I'll be excited. Don't get me
it'd be
wrong.
cool, but
I'll be excited.
weird decision.
But I'd be more excited for MGS1 remake. Yeah, and it would make me think, okay, that means there's not going to be an MGS1 remake. That's what it would make me think.
Oh.
It would make me think, oh, there's no way they're doing that, and then going backwards.
Yeah. I'd be intrigued from like the way Final Fantasy VII Remake has been approached, you know. It's like, this feels familiar, but it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd be looking for.
So, let's go on to our second remake then. And actually, to be honest, we're in wild territory now.
Yeah,
I knew across the board we'd all have MGS1, and I had no idea what else you guys would commit with. I'm hoping there's going to be some surprises here. Eric, what's another game that you want remade?
I think I've said this a few times, and you keep going, but it is remade. And I'm like, but it's not remade the way I want it to be.
Okay.
It's fucking, I don't count it as a remake. I know it is a remake, but I don't count it as a remake.
Okay.
This looks like a remaster to me. And that's Resident Evil 1.
No, fair. Because
how the fuck do you not count that as a remake?
It is a remake, but no, hold on. It is
a remake of the remake.
No, hold on. We just had a big discussion about wanting Metal Gear Solid 1 remade.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 1 was remade. So yes, of course you can have Resident Evil remade again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's the top down.
I get that you want, like, 100%
Resi 2.
That with the Resident Evil 2 engine, I'm just hung up on the fact that you don't consider that a remake.
Oh no, the other one is undoubtedly a remake.
Yeah. But yes, having that as the more modern take remake would be
that's what I want.
I'll put it this way, I don't have that as one of my 3, Eric, but if they announce it tomorrow, I'd be so fucking excited, and I'd definitely play it day one.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be really cool. I can't really get into the other one, and even though I've seen that being highly rated as the best Resident Evil game, that OG remake.
People rate it as the best remake ever.
Yeah. I find it very difficult to get into.
It's a highly acclaimed game, but Eric, why do you want Resident Evil remade in the same style as RE2, 3, and 4 remake?
Well, because I've only really experienced that story in Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii.
Right. Remake that.
And every time I've tried to play it on the remake. On
it's a fucking remake.
Oh yeah, this acclaimed remake. On the consoles.
Have you ever played the original? We should load up the original for you.
No, I think I've only played this. I might have played the original.
Yeah, like we've got it on
I think I have.
Little PlayStation Classic. We have it on that. So we should absolutely load it up for you.
Yeah,
but it's 100%. Just because it still uses that gameplay. Look, there it is, little tiny oak. Because it still uses that gameplay, and I found it quite difficult, and I was just like, I can't really get into this. I suppose that's the same thing as if you were going back to play Metal Gear Solid 1. Like, for us, we could probably go, this is fine, it's amazing.
Yeah, it plays great.
But
for someone who's never
we
played...
have the nostalgia as well.
Yeah, so someone else could play Resident Evil 1 remake and be like, this is amazing, how are you not playing this? But it's like, it's not sitting with me quite right, and I want the Resident Evil 2 gameplay so that I can experience the first Resident Evil game that kicked off the whole thing.
Right, because you've become like a fucking, I would say, major fan of the games. Like, even like, how many times have you played through Resident Evil 4 remake now?
I'm on my 5th one.
You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. I don't play any game 5 times.
I don't.
Even my favorite game ever, I don't play 5 times.
I don't have a life, so I could put over 500 hours into like Witcher 3.
I'm saying I think it's cool. Like, I think it's cool how much you're into Resident Evil and doing the reruns, trying to do all the challenges, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have it as one of my 3, but I'm right with you. If they did a Resident Evil 1 remake in that style, fuck yeah, I'd play it. And they'd have to include the stuff that was added in the remake anyway, like Lisa Trevor. You see, Eric,
also Lisa
Trevor's not in the PS1 game.
No,
that's how you know the remake is a remake. It had new stuff.
Yeah, but I think it has the old dialogue, so it still has all the kind of old bad delivery of lines. I think
they actually re-recorded. You were nearly a Jill sandwich. They
I
re-recorded.
take it back. This is the best remake ever.
They would obviously, in this sense, they would definitely change the dialogue, right?
Who knows?
keep that line.
They might.
You'd have to do it as a bit of a joke.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, you have the fucking all the cheesy lines Leon says in 4.
That's true.
Yeah, they might.
Some of that cheesiness has
keep
to
it.
stay, right?
Yeah.
One thing I would dread,
The spiders.
100%. And I think this time, I know they left them out of 3 Remake, but I mean, 3 Remake, a lot of people were annoyed at just lots of stuff being left out. And I think in this case, you can't leave anything out.
Mhm.
Resident Evil 1 is acclaimed as one of the greatest survival horror games ever made.
Yeah.
If you mess with it too much in a remake, you'll piss people off to no end. So you would have to
that's the part that would scare me the most as well, because honestly, they are quite
terrifying.
Scary. Yeah, they're pretty scary.
Probably the scariest video game spiders ever. Easily. Hands down. Hands down. And I've seen a few. Yeah, you know what? Hogwarts Legacy had its moment with fucking scary spiders, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil, easily. Scariest spiders ever.
I remember when you were playing Umbrella Chronicles for the first time.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
And it was just used to going into a basement, and there was just a little web
Oh, my
on
God.
a little lamp or something in a corner. And Chris is like, "Oh, here's come spiders. Here comes spiders." Like, what are you talking about, Chris? No, it's fine. It's fine. And you go into this room and you just turn the corner and there's this giant tarantula coming out. Chris screaming his head off. Adam laughing. Neither one of you could fucking shoot the tarantula.
Yeah, Adam's laughing his ass off. But for context, for anyone who doesn't know, I am hugely arachnophobic. So I see spiders. Now, I can admire a well-animated spider. I do think they did an incredible job because that's the fear they elicited in me. So cool. Resident Evil 1 Remake. Adam, what did you have as your second game on the list?
Still keeping in. I would want that Ori engine to be used elsewhere into Dino Crisis.
Me too! No fucking way!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Brilliant Dino Crisis.
Yeah!
I
had the
would
same.
remove the kind of the timer and points kind of thing that was in the OG, but I
Right.
just think, given this a horror game with dinosaurs, I just think that would be so fresh and I'd love to see it.
This is a game, again, because of my confidence and faith now in Capcom's teams on these remakes, I was like, yeah, what will they remake Code Veronica? Could they go back and do Ori 1? Will they do Ori 5? Whatever. Don't really care. I think a nice break at the moment, though, would actually be if they came out and remade Dino Crisis using the Ori engine. And as well, I've seen like other people's videos on the original Dino Crisis. There was actually a limited amount of dinosaurs. So this is a case of, I don't think they should remaster it and port it to modern systems. Remake it, add new dinosaurs, add extra content to the game. I don't think there was a lot to it. But fucking, this could be so scary with fucking velociraptors chasing you down hallways. And you're still got that kind of Ori style gameplay of solving puzzles.
They could even do
resource management.
A whole new entry if they wanted to.
If they really wanted,
kind
they
of
could
like
even do like a reboot.
Yeah, like the way Resident Evil 7 was approached, right? The Resi 7 was like, okay, look, this series is going downhill. Let's go back to our roots, and they could do a similar thing with Dino Crisis. I mean, I don't know how beloved the series is, how much fans it has, but I think there's an opportunity there. There are Dino games, but I remember the intro to that game was like, this is the closest thing to Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think Jurassic Park is like just people running away from dinosaurs and big spectacle, but there was definitely a survival horror aspect to it, and there's a good opportunity for that in a game.
I've heard people say Dino Crisis is the best Jurassic Park game ever made. I've heard.
Well,
that.
I never played the full game, but I remember playing the beginning of it, and I was like, this is Jurassic Park. Like, it's obviously Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and I suppose for me, this is a case of like when I'm talking about the types of remakes I want to see, this would be like the Ori 2 remake for me, whereas like this is a game that I missed out on. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for. I don't see myself going back and playing through the original.
No.
but I would love to experience it. So if they remade it, I would 100% play it.
Get on board.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I didn't know you were gonna have Dino Crisis. I had I actually thought when I threw that out, you were gonna be like, Dino Crisis. And there, Adam got there first. Love it. Okay, so then that will bring us to our third remake. Eric, what is the third game that you would love them to announce that they're remaking for whatever reason?
Well, Adam earlier in this chat mentioned a game, and I went, it's funny that you say that.
Oh.
Adam mentioned Skyrim, and I say, funny you mentioned that because I was thinking of remaking either Oblivion or Morrowind.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Which is this because of how much people talk about these games? Like a lot of Elder Scrolls fans, like hardcore Elder Scrolls fans, right? I always feel like, Skyrim is like you're into Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yes.
Like, that's the best one, right?
I was thinking of
but
it,
then the actual hardcore Final Fantasy fans are like, no, man, why does 7 get all the credit? 6 is the best, so you get the hardcore Elder Scrolls fans, and they're like, Morrowind was the best, or Oblivion was the best.
Or Daggerfall. Daggerfall.
Daggerfall. Arena, that's where it's at.
Yeah, Arena. I mean, Arena technically has the biggest map, so.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I think it's the whole world.
Yeah, it's the whole
world. Well, the whole continent.
It's massive.
Why did they name that game Arena? It makes it seem really small.
You go around to different arenas.
I know, but they should have called it World.
Yeah.
I thought it was only based in an arena.
No.
Okay. So which one would you want more, Eric?
I think Morrowind gets way more praise, so maybe Morrowind.
Yeah, okay.
But either one of those two, just because we played Oblivion, but it's fucking aged.
You are the one from my dreams.
Yeah, so being able to remake that, getting Patrick Stewart back and Sean Bean, that would be nice. I don't know if they'll do it, but it'd be nice if they got them back. So if they remade Oblivion, Martin. And we just get to play through it with its updated gameplay and everything, because it had some annoying game mechanics. It took forever to level up, but then when you leveled up, you had to find a bed to go to sleep, and then only then could you actually get to the next level.
Right.
But also it had to be a safe bed, so there was none of them around. So you had to join the freaking gladiators or go all the way back to the Blades Keep just to go to sleep, just to level up. I was like, this is actually a really annoying mechanic. And they could kind of revamp the idea of closing the Oblivion gates, because that got to a point in the story. It was like, this is really repetitively boring.
Mm-hmm. They could as well add more spectacle there, right? Like the whole Daedra, Oblivion invasion. They could definitely revamp that.
When you're going to take Kvatch back, it's like, yes, let's get all the soldiers. You have 3 guys. Oh, come on.
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
to me! And it's really guys that run in.
Then you go into the city, and it's like, we're totally overrun. And it's
Titan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that or Morrowind, because Morrowind gets a lot of praise as well. I think that one's really supposed to be really good. So that just revamped and remade to be better.
For a second, I thought you were going to say Skyrim, and I was like, Eric, stop taking the piss. Well, I see now where you're coming from, and yeah, I think there's an argument to be made there for either of those. I wonder which one would which one would get the most excitement out of people.
Probably, I'd say Morrowind.
Probably Morrowind.
Yeah, maybe Morrowind would, especially for people who, haven't played it and feel now like they don't really have an entry point into it. Because I think it is hard to jump into, even though there's some games that no matter how much they age, they're so well made that it's easy to jump into them. But there are some where if you've no nostalgia attachment to it, where it takes you back to some time of I remember playing this growing up and everything. It can be really hard to jump into something that everyone else says you need to play this game, you missed out. At least I find that with some games, which will lead to my next remake. But Adam,
man, I had so much on this list, but I'm just going. I know, right? I'm just gonna pick.
It's tough.
One.
Yeah, you have to pick one. One of these you're green lighting tomorrow. He's about to laugh. I don't know what it is.
Well, I just okay, all right. Time Crisis trilogy for VR, but literally, you could throw any light gun game like OG light gun game in there, but like remaking that
Vampire Knight
in the context of VR. I think like how has that not been done yet?
Honestly, the only thing I think that could make me buy a VR system, 100%. At one point, one of the ones I was like him and hawing about as a remaster, but I suppose technically it would have to be a remake. Was Time Crisis 2. No, that's not my third remake, but I hear where you're coming from.
The whole trilogy, man. Just
I don't give a shit about the others
for VR.
I don't give a shit about the others.
3 is pretty shit. But look,
Time Crisis 2 would sell the VR to me.
1 was great though. 1 was really good.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild Dog. What was his name? Was that his name? Wild Dog.
He's across all 3, I think.
Yeah.
He's in all 3, but I think his son is in the third one, isn't he? I think it's in the first one. Wild Dog has both of his arms, but then one of his arms gets shot off. So in the second one, he's got one gun. But for the third one, he has 2 guns for his arms. It's like that guy has a difficult time going toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just watch Guns Akimbo.
Well, I just like in VR, you could you know, it doesn't have to be a stage, right? You know, it's always like you're going to a stage, but here it's a full 360 arena you have to worry about.
Like,
you know,
I feel like that's that super hot VR thing.
Yeah,
I fucking loved
danger.
I fucking loved shooting those guys in that little, what was it, like Parisian streets before you get on the speedboat. And what a game! Time Crisis, so good.
It's just odd that those kind of arcade experiences haven't been brought over to VR.
100%.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But any of them, House of the Dead, Vampire Knight, all of them, just like Vampire Knight was so fucking good.
For people who don't know,
how do you not know? How do you not know?
Vampire Knight is not a popular game. All of 3 of us would get excited if that was remade.
Yeah.
But
it was
it was off. We had just done an episode, and then off podcast, off recording, we actually got into a big spiel of remembering and getting nostalgic about Vampire Knight. And man, look up Vampire Knight if you don't know it. Apparently, it is a House of the Dead spin-off.
Yeah,
that's actually what it is. But the game makes the story makes no sense. But it's so.
How does that not make how does it not make sense? 2 guys with long leather coats, shades and guns are fighting zombies and vampires and all sorts of beasts. I don't understand how that's so hard to understand.
It is so fucking early 2000s, isn't it? Like it's Devil May Cry 2, it's Underworld, it's Matrix, it's all that.
It's who will live, who will die, this night will decide.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. There's a bit of Castlevania, in there too, Like, there's a lot of vibes going on.
Fucking remake it. That's what I say.
Fucking remake it. My third remake was Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a game. This comes from no nostalgia for me. This is a game that people often cite as one of the greatest games ever made. So similar to what I was saying earlier, I've tried going in and playing it, and I have no like prior nostalgia or love for it. And then I'm finding the controls just kind of old and janky in a way where I'm like, I'm just not digging this. I don't know if I'm going to sit through this. But I'm imagining, and this is, I think, kind of like, so when I talk about the 3 kind of remakes I like, Ori 4 being one I knew very well. I wanted to see how they changed it or updated it. Ori 2 being one I didn't know all that well, never played it, so I want to see what it's all about. Final Fantasy VII Remake being one where afterwards you go, was that even a remake? I think they could have fun with Chrono Trigger based on what it's about. I think they could take advantage of the modern SSD between like seamlessly going through the different time zones. I've heard people talk about how in the original you make a decision in one time and then you go far into the future and they refer to those historical events that you once did, and then you go back to the past and like things keep changing, and even some of your party members, it affects the characters and things. But I've heard so many times that it's one of the greatest games ever made, and I can't see myself playing through all of the original. And so,
how does the original play?
Well, it's an old school kind of ATB style JRPG.
Oh, so yeah, you have your party kind of lined up
Yeah.
on one side of the
So,
screen.
but it
Then
doesn't
okay.
have any of those, like, there's no version of it that has those kind of boosters where if you feel like I'm not into the grind, I don't really want to do the grind here. You can't do like, if you pick up Final Fantasy 9 now,
Hmm.
you can put on those little cheat codes where you're like, I just really want to experience the story and the characters because that's what everyone raves about. And to be honest, gameplay has gotten better.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? In the future, where you're like, this gameplay isn't blowing my mind. Like maybe if I had it back in the day, I'd be like, wow, but it's not now. And you don't have that way of playing through Chrono Trigger. So I'm like, I'd fucking love to know why this is like often argued as like,
Is there
why is this like the best JRPG ever for some people?
isn't there like 12 of them, or am I wrong?
Chrono Trigger?
Or is it just one?
There's very few of them. And
Oh,
actually,
okay.
there was a game I shared with you guys that was revealed earlier in the week called Chrono Odyssey. And when I first saw the name, I clicked onto it because I thought
Yeah, I
it
thought
was
it
like
was too.
a
Yeah.
continuation of the series. And
Yeah.
even at first, they had a little clock thing, and I went,
Huh.
they do that in Chrono games. They have like this little clock thing, but it's clearly not. I think if you watch it through, you're like, this definitely not.
It is. I haven't watched the whole thing, but it is an MMORPG.
Yeah, yeah. But it's also like aesthetically, sometimes you just know, like even if your next Final Fantasy is a totally different time period or era to any others, you just look at it and you go, that looks like Final Fantasy though.
Hmm.
Like they just have certain kind of character models and things like that. So it's like, you just look at it and you're going, this is not. It's definitely not of the Chrono series. But yeah, I would love to see that game remade and then see what was it all about. And then I don't mind being confused afterwards and having to watch people's YouTube videos breaking down what the hell the ending meant. If they do something crazy
Very good.
and
Yeah.
mind bending and time fucky. But yeah, I'd love to hear from other people though. What games
So
do
much.
you want remade or remastered? There is some. I'm trying just a few others that you had there on your list just for the crack.
I
like,
actually had Ocarina of
spitball out.
Time, which
Yeah,
I know
you see-
technically it's been remade.
I thought of that as
before,
well. Yeah.
But like, yeah, proper remake I think could be cool
Because that's
that
another one that's
also
up there.
has that time jumping thing. You could do
Yeah.
some really interesting shit with that.
Definitely.
Final Fantasy X, I think, could be really interesting to see how they approach that from a remake perspective. While
If they announced it,
maintaining
I'd
the
be excited.
time-based, or the
Jason
turn-based.
Momoa plays Titus.
Just
I think, yeah, I would. That's another game where you're like, you gotta play that, right? But I can understand why someone doesn't want to.
yeah. Again, yeah. If I didn't have the nostalgia for it, I feel like if I missed that train,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't play that now. Even though I think it's one of the greatest stories ever told in video games.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that could make for a very interesting.
Yeah,
remake.
dangerous one to touch though, because it's so kind of.
Yeah. You got to be careful with it, right? But then people would have said that about 7, right? In some ways.
Look, 7 needed a remake when it came out. You know what I mean? Like,
This comes from a place of love, everyone.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I want to try out one question just before we finish. It's not one that we were prepared for, but it just came to my mind as we were playing, as we were like talking about this.
You're altering the deal, Chris. I pray you do not alter this any further.
I just think if there's any series, and it's okay if you can't think of any, but so you get remakes and remasters, but you do also get, like you mentioned it earlier, Adam, and I think that's what came to mind there. Like if they were to do sort of a Dino Crisis reboot, right?
Mm.
Is there any series, much like what they did with God of War, like they did with Doom, like they did with Tomb Raider, where it's like they reboot the series? They're not just totally change it to the point where it's unrecognizable. They do honor the kind of legacy of the series. Is there a series that you would love to see get a reboot entry of some kind? That's why I'm not going to ask for 3 on this one, because it's not something that we had previously talked about. But is there any series that you're like, yeah, you know what, that series could do with a reboot in my eye, and I'd be interested to see what they did with it?
Well, there's many where I'm like, if they rebooted it there's some that have been already rebooted it, but I feel like they went in the wrong direction with it. Like,
Okay.
So, like I wouldn't mind seeing Assassin's Creed reapproached from the perspective of being an actual Assassin's based game.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing Call of Duty being rebooted to the or Medal of Honor going back to actual World War II stuff.
Yeah.
And be more grounded and realistic.
Yeah.
I think BioShock would be a cool one because not
I haven't had it in a while.
we have and I think even especially the first one, Rapture, with today's technology, that would be so fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm. I think if you were to do BioShock, I think lean more into the horror. You
Yeah,
could fully make
definitely.
it a fucking survival horror game. Like.
Yeah, because the second one or third one rather, it was cool, but it certainly wasn't scary.
Oh, interesting. I found it scary, but not scary in like a I'm scared playing this going through the hallways, but just scary when you stop and think about the themes and going, this is disturbing.
Yeah,
I guess, yeah, right.
It's
I was
I'm not
on
afraid
edge.
to play it. I'm afraid to be there.
Yeah, I was on edge at the start, but obviously as it goes through and you start getting all the magic and stuff, and you get more weapons and they're getting upgraded, then you're just like kicking ass. But at first, like you just have a wrench,
Mm,
you know,
yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to go to that place.
Any series you'd like to see rebooted, Eric?
Seriously rebooted. Assassin's Creed was a good shout there.
Yeah.
Because that one is fucking, it's like I was playing Valhalla last year. I didn't clear it. It looked like I was getting far, but I remembered this game is supposed to be like 120 hours, so clearly I'm not far. I don't know what the hell they're going to do once I've conquered all these areas in England. But yeah, that's gotten to a point where it's like you can really clearly tell they're shoving in all the assassin stuff. They're just kind of putting it in there just so they can say it's Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, they were trying to actually do their own like God of War mythology story, which I think they should have just done that instead. Boy, that's a question. Not
It's one of the questions.
it is a question we had on this podcast for sure.
It was surely asked on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't have any. Like it's fine. I just thought I'd throw it out there as a
because Adam named some good ones there. To be honest,
yeah.
Good job, Adam.
Well,
thank you.
my one. I'm sorry if this hurts anyone's feelings. I want to see a reboot of the Halo series. I want them to really God of War shake it up. I think the series is going to become really stale if they continue on the path they're on.
I think people are already kind of not really.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
think
stale
the
already.
fact that Halo Infinite was not a console seller is not a good thing. I think Halo should be a console seller, and I think they need to start taking risks with that series. And I think they need to do something that's like the reveal is you're not even sure it's Halo, and then Halo comes on screen. You're like, wait, what? That's Halo? And you're actually like confused and conflicted. Let some people get mad, and then they come out with this fucking game that's revolutionary. That maybe by the end of it, like do a Casino Royale on it, strip back everything about Master Chief and let him become Master Chief through the process of the game. Don't use the music till the end of the game for a big climatic set piece. Maybe it's not first person shooter. I don't know. But I think Halo is a series that, I think the Halo games are fun, but I think as a flagship game series, I think now it needs a reboot.
It's a tricky one. Maybe that's a topic for another time.
Maybe
Jack
Maybe.
and Daxter
What
or
could be
Ratchet and
done?
Clank.
What could be
What
done
could be
with
done?
Halo? What is the next flagship series that could carry Xbox? Is there one?
Yeah.
Is there one there, or does there need to be a new one? Because it wasn't always God of War. So
No, exactly. No.
Yeah.
Maybe and maybe you're right. Maybe there's potential in another series that people aren't necessarily have got their eyes on, and someone could go, look, I got a really crazy idea for this. Take a chance on it, and then suddenly it explodes into one of those, you must play this game, and you can only play it on Xbox. Therefore, you must get an Xbox. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'd be excited to see that. But we'll park that for now. Maybe that is a conversation for another time. And we'd love to hear from you guys. So like we said, if you're watching YouTube, jump down in the comments, share your thoughts. What remakes you want to see in the future? What remasters you want to see in the future? What series would you love to see rebooted, and why? We'd love to hear from you guys. And if you enjoyed this one, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content. To those of you listening on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on everything we brought up in this week's episode. Thank you very much for checking us out, guys. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.